Welcome to the Catholic Life Coach Podcast. My name is Carla Fitz. I am a certified life coach, wife, and mom of two beautiful little girls. My hope for this podcast is to offer support and empower other Catholic women to live their most authentic life, to share life coaching tools from a Catholic perspective in order to help you live a more fulfilling life filled with peace, joy, and abundance. Let's get started. Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome to this episode. I'm so excited. Today's episode is one of those topics that I absolutely love talking about, and it is balancing our priorities. As you may already know, I am a mom, a wife, and I own and run my own business, which is a crazy life, okay? Like, let's not joke ourselves. It is busy. It can be busy. And we sometimes lose track of what really matters. We lose track of what is priority in our lives. And I am a fan of getting really clear on our priorities. I'm a fan of really getting clear on what is so important in our life, what is most important in our lives as moms, as entrepreneurs, and beloved daughters of Christ. For a very long time, I lived my life as it came at me. I thought I had no choice but to do what others thought was best, to do what others asked of me, to do what they thought was smarter, what they thought made more sense. And this led me to living a life with a lot of stress, very out of balance. And it created a lot of anxiety, which caused me to overeat. And it created a lot of resentment towards other people and towards their expectations of me. Or so I thought. What it really created was resentment towards myself. And I didn't know this was happening. I thought I was just super cranky with them because they had these expectations of me, that what I should and should not be doing. And truly what was happening within me was that I was being resentful that I was not standing up for what I believed, for what I wanted for my life, for what God was asking me to do. In fact, I was actually ignoring all the things that He would say that I needed to do or felt called to do. I was ignoring it because I thought it was wrong. It was out of the ordinary. And I was just like, well, no, I'd rather just stay over here and do what everybody else is asking me to do, which created an insane amount of resentment towards myself and towards other people. The other thing that it did was create a lot of confusion on what God was wanting of me. Because I didn't know which were my actual priorities, my priorities, not somebody else's priorities for me, I wasn't sure what God was calling me to do in the first place. And confusion is one of those things that when you are in confusion, you are not able to move one way or the other. You're just stuck. And confusion is just one thing that our brains does to keep us where we're at, without changing, without improvement. We just rather stay in confusion. And a lot of times we don't even know that we're in confusion. We're just kind of like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, I don't know if I should make this decision or if I should do this thing or if maybe I should leave my job. I'm not entirely sure. But staying in confusion is a mechanism that our brain has to keep us stuck where we're at. And it is important for us to know that we have an option, a different option, of how to deal with confusion. And in order to get out of confusion, it is important for us to get clear on what our priorities are. For this reason is why one of my favorite topics with my clients is setting their priorities straight. For the sake of today, I want to just focus on 4 big areas that I think are fundamental when it comes to living an authentic, faith-filled life. And I chose these 4 because they are truly my 4 pillars of life. They are the 4 things that God called me to do. They are part of my values and they are part also of my calling. And they are our vocations as well. So for the sake of today, I will focus on 4 areas. The first is our priorities as individuals, our priorities as a spouse, our priorities as a mother, and the last one is our priorities as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Now, the reason why I chose these 4 pillars, these 4 areas of our life, is because this is where I see the struggle with a lot of my clients and also within me, is finding an actual balance between the 4 things that are pretty big in our lives. When we don't find a balance between these priorities, it's really difficult to live a peaceful, joyful life because we feel so out of control, so out of balance, so untrue to who we are. So let's start with the first one. The first one is our priority as an individual. It is important for us to get clear on what our values are. What are these areas that matter to you so deeply that you don't want to do anything out of that scope? In this set of priorities is where I also like to place my relationship with God. To me, our relationship with God helps us to define us better, to define who we are. What a better way to start to define who you are than as a beloved daughter of Christ, than defining yourself as worthy, as a worthy woman, valued by the one and only God. He has given us our identity in Him. And if your relationship with God is at the top of your priorities, all other decisions, all other desires, other callings, things that you do, things in your to-do list, become better aligned with your first calling, which is to love God. When you are aligned with this priority, when you're aligned in taking care of yourself, spending time with God, growing in unity with Him, believing that He made you worthy, the rest of your priorities fall into place better. When we allow ourselves to love Him and to be loved by Him, we are able to love ourselves and take care of ourselves better. After all, if you don't take good care of you, you can't take good care of other people. I hear this a lot from people, especially women, that, well, I have to show up for my kid. Well, I have to take my kids to practice. Well, I have to take care of my parents. Well, I have to take care of my husband. Who takes care of you? If you are doing everything for everyone else, but do not spend time with you, do not have time with God and you by yourself, who's taking care of you? Someone needs to take care of you as well. And someone else can care for you, but if you don't take care and care for yourself, the other relationships that you have are also affected by this lack of care for one's own self. The next set of priorities have to do with our spouse. So if you don't have a spouse, if you have someone that you love, I think this is just also relevant for relationships outside of us, friends, family, okay? But for the sake of this podcast and me being a wife, I thought that one of my biggest pillars, because it is my vocation, is to be a wife, I would talk about this piece. In this set of priorities, it's important for us to get clear on what a relationship should look like. Not every relationship looks the same way. Not every husband and wife work the same way. But it is important for you to get clear on how your husband and you work. What are the things that you're in charge of and what are the things that he's in charge of? How do you show love to him and how does he show love to you? And also get clear on the priorities on date nights. You guys have date nights. They're the best. It's the reminder that you're married to your best friend. So what does it look like for you? Is one of your priorities date nights on Friday or movie night on Saturday? Or maybe it's coffee dates at home while your girls or your kids do a story time yoga on the other room. This seems very specific, doesn't it? This is my husband and my favorite time of the week, or one of our favorite times. But it's our special time where we get to sit on the couch in silence to chat with one another. No kids in the room. The kids are happy listening to a story, getting to move around, and we get to have our amazing, beautiful coffee for about 30 minutes. And it is our alone time. That is one of those priorities that for me are non-negotiable. I have to have my coffee on Saturday or Sunday with my husband because it helps us grow in our vocation. Making time with a person that you love to grow together is a priority if you love that person. The third pillar that I want to talk about is motherhood. And as I said before, motherhood looks very different for all of us. But I believe that the thing that is the same across the board as moms is that when we become moms, our priorities get a bit mushy. I don't have a better word for that. It just gets messy. It gets all pushed together because we want to do it all for our kids. We want to make them happy most of the time, protect them, color with them, play with them, teach them. But when we focus our attention fully on them, we run into 3 big risks. The first one is that we risk harming ourselves and our other relationships because we forget that we even exist. We forget that we are an individual person as well as we are moms and wives. We forget that there's another set of priorities that actually don't have anything to do with kids. The second is that we risk forgetting who we are. We risk forgetting who we are as a person. We start to introduce ourselves as moms. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. But prior to a mom and a wife, who are you? You don't want to forget who you are. The third is that we run the risk of giving them too much attention. A while ago, I heard that we don't have a responsibility for our kids. We have a responsibility to our kids. So as a mom, what are some of your priorities? How do you want to show up for your children? How do you want to raise them? What do you want to teach them? For some, it might look like homeschooling. For some, it might be soccer practice. It might be baseball games. For some, it might look more like time connecting with them. Or for some, it's just teaching them responsibilities. We are all a little bit different. And when we choose our priorities as a mom, we do them more on purpose. We have our relationship with our children more on purpose. One of the things I was told by my coach a while ago was, and I'm going to go back a little bit to tell you this story. So 2 years ago, when I started working with my first coach, I was having a really hard time because I believed I wasn't doing enough. And I think this is just a mom thing that we have, that no matter how much we do, we feel like we're not doing enough. And let me tell you that you are doing enough. I remember telling my coach, I just feel like a terrible mom. Am I a terrible mom? And I remember her saying, listen, terrible moms are not worried about being terrible moms. Just the fact that you're concerned that you're not doing your best for your children means that you are an amazing mom. You are aware of what's happening within you. You want to do your best for your children. You are far from a terrible mom. And I want to repeat those words to you. If you are thinking, I am not doing enough, I am not enough, I'm not showing enough, please know that yes, you are. If you are concerned that you're not doing enough, then you are already an amazing mom because you care. Because you're showing up for your kids. But there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance between the time you spend with you, the quality of time you spend with you and God, your husband, and your kids. And then the last pillar is for those of you who have a professional life, whether it's a work life or if you have your own business, it doesn't matter. Our professional life is also a calling. God calls us to do a certain work in the world. Now, when it comes to a professional life, priorities get confused with giant to-do lists. We think that we have to do it all, that everything is important in that to-do list. But I want to share something with you guys that I learned just a few months ago, and it is that 80% of our results actually come from 20% of the work that we do. I'm going to say that again. 80% of our results come from 20% of the work that we do. So what this looks like is, what is it that is bringing the most result in your business? Is it your podcast? Is it your Instagram posts? Is it your selling? Is it your pitching? Is it your calls? What is it that is bringing 80% of your results? I promise that if you check this out and you would check with yourself to see all the things that you are doing and choose 20% of those things that are the things that bring the most results into your business, you are going to see so much more time in your schedule. Because you realize that not just because they're in your to-do list means that they're priorities. So make sure you're getting those priorities straight of what actually matters in your business as well. Within these 4 pillars, and you can add another pillar, of course, if there is something else that is priority in your life. Because I think the other pillar The fifth pillar that I would add is your health. But I think that's also in your personal life, right? Like this is where you spend time walking. This is your alone time. I love walking with headphones in my ears with prayers from Hallowed. Like that is one of my favorite things to do. And to be fully honest, I haven't done it in a while because I hurt my back, and you guys, I miss it. And I can see the effect that it has when I haven't been prioritizing going out for a walk. Why? Because it's part of those priorities. It's one of those pillars for me that helps me to take care of me. And when you take that out of the equation, it leaves you out of balance. If you want to find and create a more balanced life, the best thing that you can do is set your priorities straight. Figure out what matters to you. How do you want to show up for you, for your relationship with God? How do you want to show up as a wife? How do you want to show up as a friend? The third one is, how do you want to show up as a mom? How do you want to show up for the people that you are caring for? And the fourth one is, how do you want to show up in your work life, in your business? Depending on how you want to show up is how you are going to set these priorities. They will help you spend time in the things that actually matter. They will help you grow in your faith, in your relationships, and in your business. So make sure this week to practice getting those priorities as straight as you can. Get clear on what matters to you. I cannot wait to see what you guys will do. It always gets me excited when I see you out there going after your dreams, going after your desires, after your calling. It's worth it. I promise it's worth it. Have fun this week setting up your priorities. And until next time, God bless. Thank you for joining the Catholic Life Coach podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with a friend and leave a review to help this channel grow and reach more and more amazing Catholic women. Also, if you are interested in having a free coaching call with me, make sure to sign up for a time that works for you. The link is in the description. I cannot wait to see you there. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. And until next one, God bless.